Hey, it is Smooth Tim and Larry E. Welcome to another Thursday or Wednesday hump day.
When is he still getting?
You know, I, the
You
days
stuck
of the
on
week all
Thursday,
flies together when you're as busy as we are.
right? Right.
Anyhow, yeah, I hope you're enjoying another Wednesday on Tim's Tidbits, and thank you for dropping in with Larry and I and listening to all the crap we have to say about the crap going on around the world.
Right.
As simple as that. How's everything down in the great state of Texas, Larry?
About the same, bro. You know it's hot.
Hot,
Nothing serious. Same old, same old.
keeping the
So
border
we got to
tied
do
down, keeping Abbott under control,
nothing big has happened yet. But it's coming though. You know it's coming.
you know, Ted's not making any more vacation time down to Cancun or anything like that, is he?
Oh no, he will.
He's,
When the winter time pops in, it
he's staying out
freezes
of the
over.
limelight.
He'll be gone. Yeah, he'll be gone.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much about Cruz lately. I didn't like, yeah, after that incident with going down to, what was it? Yeah, that was Cancun with his daughter, wasn't it?
When the freeze, everything froze up, and we stuck here
Yeah,
with
we're
five. What?
stuck here masked up, and he's down partying in Cancun. How is that
Yeah,
even
and we got like
fair,
5 minutes worth of electricity. You know what I'm saying?
man?
Every other hour.
They rationing us out.
Prick. Yeah, that dude's a prick, man.
Hey, man, you've been paying attention to the news. Let's get right into it. In the state of our union, you pay attention to what was going on over in Hawaii, more specifically in Maui, where they just got slammed. They had that wildfire, not necessarily,
Oh,
but I mean, it just devastated them. And uh, I was trying to think what they said. There's almost 100 now confirmed dead.
damn.
They have like 1,000 that they still can't, over 1,000, I believe, that they still can't account for. What's interesting, it just came on so quickly, and a lot of these people will watch the video, but they're complaining. We had like no early warning, didn't even have a freaking clue this was coming. All of a sudden, this smoke and this fire is upon us, and that's just,
Hmm.
it says a lot about, how they alert, how do they activate their early warning system, says a lot about, what kind of, emergency plans they even have in place. And let's get into the video and discuss this just a tad bit, but it's just a damn shame, Larry.
First and foremost, I want to offer our condolences not only to the survivor we just heard from, but everybody that was impacted by this tragic wildfire. Right now, FEMA and interagency partners are on the ground working with the state of Hawaii, both in the search operations in the directly impacted area, and then through our recovery mechanisms, providing disaster assistance to those who need, whether it's food, water, shelter, and starting the recovery process to file insurance claims and get registered with FEMA for FEMA assistance.
Can you just put this tragedy into perspective for us and the types of challenges everyone is up against?
As was discussed previously, this was a very fast-moving fire that happened in the late hours, so that in itself is a difficult issue. And then the state of Hawaii working with the county of Maui and all the federal responders trying to figure out exactly the process to run the search operations and then move on from there. There'll be a long-term recovery aspect to this, certainly, but that's why FEMA and the entire federal government are working with the state to prioritize getting everyone who's impacted by this the assistance they need. To that end, I just would like to point out the phone numbers that we have available to everybody who needs assistance. The FEMA assistance number is 1-800-621-3362. Impacted survivors can also register on disasterassistance.gov. They can download the FEMA app and also contact the American Red Cross at 1-800-733-2767. And I know that this is just a first step in a difficult recovery process.
Isn't that horrible? You see that devastation?
Damn. Like you would never think. You would think of a hurricane or typhoon or something. You would never think of a fire.
Yeah, but I mean,
But
it
they
was
just got
just
caught unprepared, man.
it was just dry, and they had those winds, those prevailing winds coming off the ocean, and just was feeding that fire. And wow! But like I said, most interesting is a lot of these people, and why you had so many people, in dire straits and or even killed, was there was no early warning put out. They had no idea this was even coming down the pipe. It was on them before they knew it.
I'm thinking because I've never been involved in a mass fire. I'm thinking how could you not see it if it? I can understand if you sleep. Did it occur at night or something
Yeah, it
like that?
occurred in the middle of the evening, and it just took off from there. And I mean, you have to figure that, how fast a fire can move, 25, 30 mile an hour and or faster, depending upon how fast the wind's pushing it, right?
Man, that's one thing I've never experienced. I experienced some winds. I know about the floods, but fires. I put some grass on fire one time. It spreads fast, so I guess. But I don't know, man.
And some
I
of these
always
people
hear
were
about them.
jumping into the ocean, they get away from the
Yeah,
flames
yeah.
and hiding out. But
Well, and I always hear about fires, and it's always like when I hear about them, say a house catch on fire or something catches on fire, immediately people always know it's a fire. So
mm-hmm.
forest fires is different though. Forest fire, forest fire, I know they spread fast and like no one's really out there, and there you go, it gets out of control. But usually something within the city, I've never seen it like that. I've heard hurricanes, tornadoes, and stuff like that, but not a fire in the city. So that's why I'm like,
A lot of their problem, and
surprised.
you got to think of it, and I guess let's call it logistically speaking. I mean, they don't have these airplanes that go down and scoop up water because they're not prepared for that, right? They don't
Mm-hmm.
have a whole lot of firefighting equipment probably for that type of a situation
Yeah, it just
on each
it's
island. I mean, and think about how far each island's apart. So, even when it comes to medical, first responders, any type of first responders is going to be delayed by how
my
long? Just
island.
because of islands.
I guess that's probably why so much devastation occurred. Because usually, if you see a fire that happens within a city, it doesn't just wipe out a whole city, only unless it's being neglected. But only time I seen fires get neglected is during the riots or whatever. When they have riots, and then ain't nobody going down there to mess with that crap. But it's crazy, man.
Yeah, I
Because you
mean,
would never expect a fire to happen on an island.
I
Not
can
that
I
way.
can guarantee they'll have some resource management put down now for the next time this happens. I remember, even with my involvement in FEMA and with first response, and we would know how many fire departments had what type of equipment, what type of backpacks, whether it's, what I'm saying,
Hmm.
and you knew down to the number, so that if you needed to call in resources, well, there it is. It just seems that the poor people of Maui just didn't have that available to them, and I am hearts and prayers out
Yeah,
to y'all.
that's crazy, man. And an island, I never heard of that one.
Mm.
So it's the first for me.
First for a lot of people. Anyhow, hey, let's get into another interesting segment. Obviously, during January 6th, part of the big plan was that they were going to send these fake electors, right, from the different states like Georgia, Michigan, some of this. And they were going to, and that's the ones that Pence was supposed to take, right, and take the fake electors and reject the ones where Biden won, right? Anyhow, seems that in Michigan, these fake electors who presented this false information are having their day in court, so to speak. Check it out.
Arguably, for the first time, we are seeing some kind of justice meted out to some of the folks who are on the front lines of Donald Trump's so-called fake elector scheme. You may remember this scene from back in December 2020 when false Trump electors in Michigan were caught on camera trying to enter the State House to file their fake document, effectively claiming Trump should win the state's electoral votes despite losing, well, by quite a bit there. In total, all 16 of the fake electors were charged with 8 felony counts each by the Michigan Attorney General. Today, some of those people that were trying to claw their way in the State House were filmed in a different context, being read their rights and negotiating bail as part of a virtual arraignment.
Alleges that you did unlawfully conspire, combine, confederate, and agree together with Kathy Burden, Mayra Rodriguez, Michon Maddock, and other persons to falsely make, alter, forge, or counterfeit a public record, with the intent to injure or defraud. Contrary to law, that is a felony that you attempted to defraud by the certificate of votes of the 2020 electors from Michigan. That is a felony, ma'am. Maximum penalty, 14 years and/or $10,000.
That's what it looks and it sounds like when the foot soldiers in the plot to steal the election face their day in court, at least the beginning of it. In addition to those charges in Michigan, we know Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney Fani Willis has been investigating the fake electors in her state. Now being reported she is considering charging more than a dozen individuals related to Trump's coup attempt. So if the fake elector scheme is criminal in Michigan, possibly criminal in Georgia, it seems to me it would stand to reason that it's likely criminal in the other 5 states where Republicans filed those false documents. Joining me now.
Damn, Trump is they just dirty, bro.
You
They
see,
found fake
I find it
electors.
interesting on how quickly his people roll over on his ass, right?
Hmm. But he found all those fake electors, whatever it's called,
Right,
and he still lost. And he still lost by a large margin.
Yes, he did.
I'm like, now they facing felony charges up to 14 years. They ain't gonna do all 14 years, $10,000 or whatever. But I'm like, y'all the dumbest shit because y'all did that for nothing.
You know what I think is kind of interesting? Watch how quickly they roll over on him, because I seen today on the or yesterday, I guess it was, on the news that they indicted like 14 people or more down in Georgia. So on all this garbage with the fake electors and find me the votes, all that garbage. And yeah, it's going to get real interesting. But what's interesting even more so, Larry, he even gets more popular every time he gets charged.
I don't know how that works, man. It's mind-boggling to me.
Mind-boggling to you.
This guy's so dirty. I'm like, he just wasn't a good president. He was not the face of the country. He was a spoiled, immature, self-absorbed rat.
And stick to your reality movies and all that other good stuff. And
he had the whole country in his hands just to play with, like it's some what do you call that, slime or something. I'm like, we were slime to him. It was just a game. Ridiculous, man. I never seen a president that act so immature and kick up so much dust, and they made everything about him. It's all about Trump.
But what's interesting is, just like and it is all about Trump. You're right. But when he gets into trouble, he's always saying, well, it's they're not really coming after me. They're coming after you. No, I didn't have anything to do with those documents. I didn't have anything to do with calling up and saying, find me some falsified votes. And, how's it on me? I hate it when he does that.
He put it back on the people, and the people fall for it. Yeah, they are attacking me.
Yeah, they are attacking me and my freedom.
They're trying to convict me.
It's like my freedom of speech. You're not being convicted on your freedom of speech. You're being convicted for what you did, dummy. So, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
And he still lost those votes, and they did all that fake crap.
Yep. It's amazing. Yeah. And people swallow that shit up just like it's going out of style. And, but there's other idiots in government. I came across this one. Senator, I'm going to call him Tupperware.
Tupperware?
It's Tupperware. It's Tupperware. And anyhow, we are kind of at a situation in the United States that we never have been before, militarily speaking. And it all comes to one guy holding up everything simply over abortion, believe it or not.
Today, the top-ranked officer in the Navy will step down. The move will make the Navy the third U.S. military branch without a confirmed top officer, along with the Army and the Marines. So the Army, the Marines, and the Navy, no top officer. It's all because of a hold put in place on military promotions by one Republican senator, Tommy Tuberville of Alabama. Tuberville is trying to get the military to alter its policy on abortion.
Well, thanks, Mika, so much for having me today. This is unfortunately a historic and unprecedented day that the military is facing, with 3 heads of our military services with unconfirmed Senate leadership. As you mentioned, the Army, the Marine Corps, and today, unfortunately, a relinquishment of responsibility for our Navy. We've never seen this in history in the department. And so what does this mean for readiness? Well, in a time when we are facing the growing challenge of Russia and Europe and the rising threat of China, our pacing challenge, as the Secretary likes to call China, we need our Navy, we need our Senate-confirmed leaders now more than ever to ensure the safety and freedom of our skies, of our international passageways, and allowing free trade and commerce to be conducted all around the world. And so it's incredibly important to have these leaders in place, but also incredibly damaging when you don't, for our national security and for our readiness all around the world. Our leaders that are Senate confirmed interact with allies and our adversaries on a daily basis. And when you don't have them in their Senate confirmed positions, that sends a really clear message that you know, I think China and Russia certainly enjoy sowing those seeds even more.
I mean, what's up with this guy?
So let me get this. How is he preventing these guys from?
Because they have to have they have to have the affirmation, Senate approval, right? Yeah, yes, right. And he's holding it all up over abortion in the military.
Oh, abortion in the military.
Yeah, that they're that they want. He wants that, you know, into their standards. Yeah, about no abort. Who the hell knows? But I mean, did you see everything that's getting held up because of one individual's skewed idealism? I mean, that's like me saying, you know, we're not going to do anything until the next person that we promote is a black man with 8 fingers on one hand.
That's what we're working with now, man. That's the way this
they're going to be like,
going.
how do we ever going to find? Because I'm holding everything up until you do. I know that sounds ridiculously stupid.
So he basically wants abortions to be taken out of the military or
Right.
put back in.
Probably that. Yeah, you can't have an abortion if you're in the military, because I'm sure that happens a lot. You was in the military. I don't know if you knew of any females that was in active duty while you were also in active duty that may have had an abortion while they were on active duty, because I would imagine isn't your body government property at that time? So if you got pregnant, wouldn't that be some type of like abuse of government property or some stupid crazy shit?
Well, I've heard of most of the women I've known when I was in the military that were soldiers. Never heard them having abortions.
Okay.
If they did it on the down low. And then the wives, of course, they had kids, but you would know if a female that was a soldier had something going on. So, because they would disappear for a large period of time and people would talk. But I've never seen it. So, but I guess it happens often since it's a problem now. But I'm like, here we go again, trying to tell a person what to do with their body. I'm like, I thought slavery was abolished a long time ago.
Slavery's not been abolished. No.
That's a form of slavery, making someone
all a bunch of different standards for different people, right?
And there's always some kind of shithead, some guy that's always trying to make this rule and regulate this and do. I'm like, who gives it? And especially has nothing to do with them.
Yeah, I'm like, who's this Tumberville guy? That's what I call him.
How's abortion going to cost the government all this amount of dollars? I'm like, so this is called Dumberville or something.
Dumberville, yeah. Well, it's calling him Senator Dumberville. Holding everything up. Did you see all those positions that are being held up? That seems insane that can happen like that. I didn't total those up while they were showing them, but I mean, that seemed to me near 200 or more positions, right, of rank. Yeah.
But we have, like, the military has boards of guys, colonels and lieutenant colonels and 1-star, 2-star generals, all kinds of stuff, sergeant majors,
I'm sure.
command sergeant majors. They have a bunch of guys they can step up and do that. So you don't really need no one particular leader.
You know, in one sense of what you're saying, actually, Larry, it's true. Is you have a guy that's actually filling the position without the title.
Yeah, so if somebody's taking that position, it's just that
they don't get the title or the pay yet.
they don't get the title to pay, and they're just temporary, and no one wants to be temporary in anything, especially when it's your career. There's no such thing as a temporary career position. I'm like, there should be if it's your career, that should be your position. You're not seasonal as a general.
I figure
You are a general.
musicians are the only part-time person I know that every night they're going someplace else trying to find a job.
Who was that?
I said musicians.
Yeah. Other than that,
Other than that, yeah, stick with your job.
Yeah, I'm like, if I was a sergeant, command sergeant major, and I've been in the military for 30 years, and they asked me to take a general's position, or something kind of
15, man, take a GS 15.
I'd be like,
yeah, you're
somebody be a colonel. I said, man, I want the pay and I want the position. So,
you know, all of a sudden,
be all right.
they got to throw down, you know, excellent, position like
That's a dick, though.
Anyhow, hey, you know what we hear occasionally is, besides Trump, you know, what stupidity he's done, that you have the right wing sitting there trying to throw us. But what about Hunter Biden? Hunter Biden with a laptop, sexy tapes.
He's in the mix too?
Showing his penis to everybody. But you've seen it all, right? You know what I found interesting?
What's that?
Let's talk about, just for 1 second, let's reflect on Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Remember him?
And there's been a lot of talk in recent weeks about Hunter Biden and how was he trying to raise money off of his father's name and influence. And we should again note that Hunter Biden never worked in the White House. You know who did? Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner worked in the White House. And you've got a chart there that details the sources of his money. I'll let you explain it. But it should be noted here that Kushner also, his background in real estate, not exactly as a hedge fund magnate or a peace broker in the Middle East.
So you're right, Jonathan. Jared Kushner did work in the White House. He worked very hard. It's becoming a little less clear what he actually worked hard at, because after he left the White House, he went out and raised $3.1 billion, that's billion with a B, for a private equity fund. And as you pointed out, he's not a private equity guy. He's a real estate guy. So where did this money come from? Some of it we know from filing, some of it we know from press reports. What we know for a fact is he raised the $3.1 billion. What we also know for a fact is that only about $30 million of it actually came from investors in the United States. All the rest of it is foreign money. And of that foreign money, $2 billion of it came from the Saudis. And not only did it come from the Saudis, but the Public Investment Fund, which is the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, from which this money came, the board of it voted against giving the money to Jared, and they were overruled by MBS, who said, give him the $2 billion. I've been in this business 40 years. I have never seen someone get $2 billion out of $3 billion, get 2/3 of their money from a single investor. Usually a single investor might be a few percent of the fund, might be 5%, occasionally 10%. Never seen this. Another $200 million we believe came from Qatar. Another $200 million we believe came from the UAE. And then the $625 million that came from foreign investors that we don't even know who they are. So what was Jared Kushner doing in the White House? And by the way, as a fun fact, on January 6th, the famous January 6th, Jared Kushner was in the Middle East.
You know, what do you think about Jared Kushner?
You
Trump's little dirty son-in-law.
Getting rich using the Americans. I ain't gonna say Americans' money because he got a lot of money from overseas, but he's still doing some undercover dirty dealings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he was in the White House. That's the point. He worked in the White House while all these dirty dealings was going on. And they're looking at Hunter Biden because his dad was, VP at the time, senator at the time, whatever the hell he was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't have the direct connect that this clown had. And the other thing I found funny, did you see like that one that was a Saudi group that invested in who hosted the Saudi golf tournament down in Mar-a-Lago? What was that guy's? That was Trump.
I remember that guy.
Oh,
I remember we had that on the show.
So you wonder what kind of favors get, pushed. Wait, Jared
Man,
gets
it goes
all
to
this
show you
cash. You get to host this golf event at Mar-a-Lago, and our ex-president is squeaky clean, buddy.
Money has no color, man. They always talking about black, white this, Mexican this, Saudi this, Asian this. Put up or shut up. Money talks, bullshit walks.
Isn't that amazing?
Period. Period. You got bread, you got millions and billions, I'm cool with you. You got zero, I hate you. That's how them big wigs work. It's incredible. That money.
You know, and you're right. And money truly makes an individual colorblind.
It does. I'm like, oh, you know. I'm
as long as it's
It
green,
really,
we're good, right?
I think it makes you more tolerable towards other parties. Because at the end of the day, you can say, look, I'm rich, he's rich, I'm rich, she's rich, or whatever, they're rich. I can deal with them because they're rich. They're poor, I can't deal with them.
We're part of
even
the
though
elite,
they still
right?
niggas, but they some rich niggas. You know, he's a cracker. He's a rich cracker. I'm a rich nigga, so we can work with each other.
Yeah, to some, you know, no matter how much we make, we'll still be houseboys.
Yeah, but you'll be a rich one though.
Yeah.
You know, I'm seeing those rappers. The rappers in the White House. They ain't in the White House because they can rap. They're in there because they got money. They got influence. That's why they're in the White House, not because they can rap.
Because they got a little bit of.
They got some influence and money to back up. They use the rap to get the influence and money. Those are votes. Those are votes. And those are contributions to their campaign. It ain't the rap. Because I done heard some of these motherfuckers rap. Man. They shouldn't even be in the Black House the way they rap.
You know, that's the key to progressing in a whole lot of different things in your life, is to exercise your influence. And that's done
man.
And that is done by your circle of friends. You know,
power's incredible. Because, like, you can have people that are powerful with no money at all. They can generate, like this guy. This guy had no kind of money at all.
You just have to know the right people in the right places and connect the dots. And according to that was like, a couple of $1 billion connect-the-dot project that worked out for him.
Generated billions of dollars just by having a power as his position in the White House.
Incredible. Speaking of freaking incredible, remember not too long ago we talked about Favre ripping off the system so he could.
Yeah. Whatever happened to that?
Let's update ourselves on that.
We have an update in the Mississippi welfare scandal.
It is the biggest alleged welfare scam in Mississippi's history.
Where Brett Favre...
There are text messages from one of the state's most famous sons that allegedly have him caught up deep in the scandal.
But there's such a disconnect across the board now. I mean, it's really sad. It really is.
Has tried getting himself removed.
One message indicates he knew it was shady. If you were to pay me, is there any way the media can find out where it came from and how much, he asked.
The governor responded to Favre's request. Use of these funds is tightly controlled. Any improper use could result in violation of federal law. The former governor wrote him, "I am too old for federal prison."
And I'm like, what do we do? I don't know.
From the state's biggest lawsuit ever.
You got to be a sorry mofo to steal from the lowest. Mississippi is the poorest state in our country. So if they're the poorest state, Brett Favre is taken from the underserved. You made $100+ million in the NFL.
My wife's like, you must be the worst hunter ever.
NFL Hall of Famer Brett Favre is facing questions tonight of whether he knowingly took $5 million of state welfare money to build a new volleyball facility for his daughter's team 5 years ago at her university and his alma mater.
I mean, it's a shame. It's really a shame that we've come to this.
Mississippi is the poorest state in America. The poorest state in America. These funds are specifically sent from the federal government to help those people, the poorest people in America. Those are the funds that we're talking about.
The state of Mississippi is now suing Brett Favre and nearly 4 dozen others to recover tens of millions of dollars in welfare funds
that he stole from the people of Mississippi. And I always liked Brett Favre, you know, when he was playing for the Packers, but man, that tells you a whole lot about his character. Because obviously he freaking knew, or he wouldn't have said, how can I keep my name out of it and what happens, right? So you knew the shit was not square to begin with.
He's getting sued by the state, not by someone that lives in the state.
And then you're redirecting welfare money. That's like taking money that should go down to the playgrounds in South Dallas, right? And putting it up north, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You're like, now wait a minute. That's You know, they don't need that kind of stuff up there, but these people here need this type. And you know what? Person thought that was a good idea, and then they've got, you know, $5 million. They just lined their damn pocket for what? His daughter's volleyball team.
He could have did some like.
How the hell do you do that, Larry? How could you get that creative to redirect that kind of money to a volleyball program?
I'm just saying, he's Brett Favre. He could have set up some kind of charity type events and generated some of that income, some of those funds by using this celebrity and his own power and the things he's done in the football league, and plus some of his own money. It's only $5 million.
Yeah, I mean, what's that?
I know he has $5 million.
He probably has to unload that type of money. I think about the taxes this guy probably pays out. I'm sure you've got a bunch of different, you know, ways you're redirecting your cash flow, but goddamn, excuse me.
Even if he donated it, he could have wrote it off on his taxes and then named it the Brett Favre volleyball facility, and then charge people to come in and use it when they come to the games, get a percentage.
Don't they do that anyhow, like all the time in universities? Yeah,
I would.
Mom or dad's, you know, building something. So yeah, right. I mean, come on.
Write it off and set it up financially when you have volleyball games and events that he gets a percentage of. I don't know if that's legal, but I get a percentage of the sales or whatever. And that's it. And he could have wrote that $5 million off anyway. It's plain stupid.
He dirty as it gets. Like I said, I've lost my total respect for you, Brett. I used to really be.
The worst part about
I thought he had good game, but now I see he's got this.
The worst part, he's trying to deny it now. No, what? No, man.
I can't believe it's come to this. What did you get caught?
People always do that when they get caught. Then all of a sudden,
then all of a sudden they're sad and sorry, right?
Sorry because they got caught.
That's what it's all about.
Yes.
Hey, man, you know, every once in a while, I come across something that, you know, sometimes you and I, Larry, and we have to admit, we're not always so nice to our ex-president Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found a little clip where somebody was actually saying something very nice about the guy, and I thought I would share it.
Donald Trump is here tonight. Now, I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac? All kidding aside, obviously we all know about your credentials and breadth of experience. For example, no, seriously, just recently in an episode of Celebrity Apprentice at the steakhouse, the men's cooking team did not impress the judges from Omaha Steaks. And there was a lot of blame to go around, but you, Mr. Trump, recognized that the real problem was a lack of leadership. And so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night. Well handled, sir. Well handled. This is central to our democracy, and nah, I'm just kidding. You know I've got to talk about Trump. Come on. We weren't just going to stop there. Come on. Although I am a little hurt that he's not here tonight. We had so much fun the last time. And it is surprising. You've got a room full of reporters, celebrities, cameras, and he says no. Is this dinner too tacky for the Donald? What could he possibly be doing instead? Is he at home eating a Trump steak? Tweeting out insults to Angela Merkel? What's he doing?
Good. See, nothing but compliments and love for the down.
Well, he started it. You know, even though I'm older and I should be a little bit more professional, but all I know is when she started something with me, damn it, it's on. Started, and then I know I'm right. But if you start something with me and I'm wrong, I'm be like, okay, yeah, you're right. But he started it because he gonna get that smoke forever. Every chance President Barack Obama get a chance to get Trump, he's gonna give him that smoke.
Well, he's good though, wasn't he? He really,
Yeah,
he's
he
got
must have had
good
a writer.
timing. I'm like, you know what? He actually delivers a good comedy show.
Yeah. He probably had some writers.
You know, he had the right, and he paused the right time. You know, we've been around the comedy game for a long time to know how you
timing.
do it.
The delivery is very important.
And it was like, that was just funny. I don't know why we had so much fun the last time.
I was like, fuck that. I ain't going to this next one.
I ain't gonna get burned twice.
Because, hey, the saying goes, no one is funnier than the person with the mic.
You know? Amen.
Period.
Amen. Anyhow, well, that was What's Up, America. Now it's time to go up to what the fuck? I mean, did you see what happened to that house in Pittsburgh? It was the one that blew up. This is a house just outside of Pittsburgh, rather. It just blew to holy hell. I mean, we'll watch this, but I mean, they've been working on it for a while. Still can't make a determination. They know that it wasn't natural gas. They don't think that it was, set by any other, somebody bombed their house or something. But you got to see this. It's amazing, and they still can't figure out what the hell happened or how the hell it even happened.
An urgent investigation is now underway outside of Pittsburgh. A massive explosion and fire rocking a neighborhood. At least 5 people were killed, several others hurt. 3 homes completely leveled. The blast and fire leaving only rubble behind. Debris damaging a dozen nearby structures. The Red Cross and Salvation Army stepping in to help those who are now displaced. Details from ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
Tonight, with 5 people now confirmed dead, there are growing questions about what caused a deadly explosion in a Pittsburgh suburb. Officials say gas was not to blame. A homeowner provided our affiliate WTAE doorbell video capturing the moment this home exploded Saturday morning, leveling 3 homes and damaging at least a dozen others.
It's alerted Rustic Ridge Drive, Brookside Drive, getting a report of multiple people buried under debris, of at least 1 surviving victim. All units requesting fire department step up.
First responders rushing in. Remnants of homes are scattered throughout the area. Cars now charred, debris surrounding this children's playground.
I can remember what these houses look like. Like, I'm shaking. Like, I know what they looked like before, and now it's this, and I just can't believe it. It's unreal.
3 residents were hospitalized. 1 remains in critical condition.
Isn't that amazing? Just wham.
Shit, I've been in the mood. They gotta investigate that whole area.
That's what the people that are surrounding neighborhood. Obviously, if your neighbors blew up like that, you'd be like wondering. It wasn't natural gas leak, right? No. So
propane or something.
There's natural gases in the earth that could rise. I mean, and it may have been some type of pocket of gas underneath that home that accumulated, right? Isn't there, methane gas and other gases naturally in the earth? I mean, that's how they get it out. So we have our natural gas that we burn. So I guess why couldn't it somehow rise up and accumulate underneath the house? I find
sound like some spy stuff or something like that.
It seems
James Bond type stuff.
But I mean, what devastation. That was just, you've seen it from that person's Ring doorbell.
Dang, it's just blown up something you see on television, man. I'd be shocked and like,
yeah,
what?
When I first thought, I'm like, damn, I said, man, what did somebody do? What was is this like some Arnold Schwarzenegger eraser shit or what?
Exactly. There's got to be some gas or dynamite type stuff to blow that house up like that. It can't be no simple. It can't be anything else. Because, well, what else? You'd have a large amount of propane cylinders.
Yeah,
or something.
think about that. Yeah, you
explosion.
seen that explosion. That was not just some simple.
Yeah. It had to be some dynamite type it wasn't no missile that hit. It wasn't something was. They'll figure it out because that's not normal.
It'll be interesting to see what comes across on the news. You know, there's a whole lot of things.
If it's gas,
you know,
it's gas.
What caused that? Because damn.
Why just one house?
Yeah, why just one house? And like you say, hey, if it was your neighbors and then they really can't determine the cause, my house is going on the market, man. I'm getting the hell out of this neighborhood.
Is it sabotage or something? If it was a gas leak, they say it's not, so then it have to be something serious. It's a setup. That's a hit.
That's what I thought too. That was the first thing that went through my mind was it looked like a hit. Like, you know, wow. You know, what better way to cover everything up than just blow the shit up out of everything?
Blow the shit out of it. That's the best way. Burn it. Blow it.
You know, what evidence is left? I don't know.
Not
much.
I didn't recognize the house. I'm like, no, because it's blown the fuck up. That's why you can't recognize
yeah, that's why. The shingle look familiar? I mean, I don't know.
A piece of the house will get the piece of the house that blew in your yard. Then you can recognize it. I'm like,
that's crazy. Hey, anyhow, we got another episode I want to come up with, and this all part of the our what the fuck section is. Sometimes you wonder about people, and I'm going to call this little goodie Not So Smoothie.
You have no room to yell at us.
I want to speak to the person who made this drink.
The man seen here at a Connecticut juice shop yelling about a problem with a smoothie order is apologizing this morning.
Is that you?
No, it wasn't.
We don't know who made it, so.
You don't know who made it?
There's 4 of us here, so we honestly don't.
You ignorant high school kid.
In cell phone video that's quickly making its way around the world, 49-year-old James Ianazza is seen throwing his shake at the teenage employees.
I'm calling the police.
He's telling them he wants a phone to speak to a manager, and then he says this.
Immigrant loser.
What? Out! You're going to jail! You're going to jail, you racist!
To many, his words were racially offensive, and you see him try to get behind the counter through a door that one of the workers is struggling to keep closed. Again, these are teenagers, and one of them tells us she has only been working here less than a year.
As a person who's had multiple customer service jobs, I've dealt with people like this, and I don't think we get paid enough to deal with it at all.
It's never been this aggressive. Never been threatened to get killed by any of them.
And he did go to jail. This is the booking photo he took with tears in his eyes. He's charged with trespass, breach of peace, and intimidation based on bigotry or bias. He has not yet entered a plea. It was all too much for his employer, Merrill Lynch, where he worked as a financial advisor. They fired him Sunday. But in his written apology, he explains that he was upset because the smoothie was made with peanut butter, and his 17-year-old son is allergic to peanuts. He writes,
and so what? That does not permit you to come in there and act like a total asshole. That you know, are there peanuts in this peanut butter smoothie?
Yeah, that's when white privilege goes bad.
Yeah, isn't that horrible? And then and to call them racially profiling names. I mean, they're obviously minors, not even 18. Look at them.
I wouldn't even want my daughter. Like, I want my daughter to get a job and work one day, but I don't want her working in retail because
retail that kind of crap.
Yeah, retail is a beast, and I don't know what I would do if someone came in and called my daughter a bitch nigga or some shit like that. They called her a nigger just because you're black nigga ass. That shit has just disturbed me so bad, you know. And look, luckily they wasn't black because it'd have been even worse than what it was. But he was still wrong. Then he threw something at him on top of that, and then that would have happened. I would have had to track the guy down and whoop the shit out of him, and I'd have had some charges on me, you know. And then the girls look white anyway. Well, how was he saying? Well, one of them must have been an immigrant or something.
Maybe they were. They may have been Indian. I don't know. They could have. Yeah, I mean, they were not. No, they were not. They were not of. They may have been Egyptian, Indian. They didn't look African or even no. So I don't know why he went that way with them. All right,
it's crazy. I've seen other videos when there's been black on black crime when they retail. They go in there and fight, tear the whole damn store up. But
I was gonna blow him in with the asshole of the week, but
and then think about it, those are females. He's a male. I'm like, come on, bro.
Chill. Chill. Yeah, that's just it. A lot of people just can't,
And he gonna cry.
My peanuts.
What's my job with Merrill Lynch? I'm like, no shit. Eat your ass whoop too,
You're
man.
an asshole. That's why. Speaking of assholes, let's move on to asshole of the week. And obviously, this man takes it in so many different ways.
Donald Trump is reverting to the playbook we've now seen him use 3 times with the previous indictments that he is facing. One of the most concerning things that people pointed out today about his Truth Social post is that he attacked directly one of the key witnesses in this Georgia case. That post reads, I am reading reports that failed former Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, Jeff Duncan, noting that he spelled Jeff's name wrong there, will be testifying before the Fulton County grand jury. He shouldn't. I barely know him, but he was, right from the beginning of this witch hunt, a nasty disaster for those looking into the election fraud case.
This is an important part of the healing process for the Republican Party. This is painful. This may feel ugly to some, but this is part of this process, right? We've got to put these facts and figures and details and reality on display for America, specifically for Republicans to see what reality really is.
I mean, can you believe that guy?
Then I think, hands down, Trump
that's
is
like
the
witness
asshole of the year.
tampering. You can't sit there and say, might be in your best interest. You shouldn't testify, Larry.
Yeah, I think Trump is probably going to be the asshole of the year.
Well, I think that's
Along
why
with
they're
other
going to go after him.
Republicans.
I think they're going to make this entire case RICO. You know what I'm talking about when they make a case RICO? You know, because it's there's so many people. It's like an octopus.
He's a puppet master.
And he's the puppet master, so they kind of approach it from a RICO standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet you it goes
Everybody else
because
got
there's
their
just
hands
too
dirty.
many players. God damn, you know. Think about Rudy, and then you got these people in Michigan now getting their butts, and then Georgia, and who knows what else they've got that we haven't even been privy to yet. So yeah, I can see when it comes down to it.
They sat there for 4 years and stockpiled all this juicy stuff on this guy. He's been doing that shit for 4 years when he was president. They could have blew the whistle a long time ago, but they sat there and let that guy go in office and do the things he do and say the things he said, and they just said, okay, now we're gonna put it on him.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's crazy how these people supposed to be the smartest ones, the Republicans, Democrats, House senators, or whatever. They're supposed to be smart enough to see this thing happening and see it unfolding in the end, and they just went along with it like some dummies.
Amen. Anyhow, hey, well, that's why we're here, Larry. We are here to inform, not to influence. And, if our opinion spills over occasionally because we call somebody out for what they are, possibly an asshole, a liar, whatever that might be that we see, it happens. But otherwise, that's what we're here for, just to give you a little bit of insight on the crazy shit that happens around this world on a weekly basis, and we can't even begin to sum it up. But Larry, you know what we do need to sum up is, can you get us out of here hey, let me get you on full screen so you can take us to the bridge on fitness tip of the week.
Hey, check me out on Facebook or Instagram, LRE Fitness Solutions. We keep you moving. I'm actually going to talk about booking a personal trainer and sign up for sessions or whatever. One thing I want people to know, personal trainers are very busy. They have if they're real busy, they have schedules. They have people sign up for certain particular days and hours of the day. So I want to make sure that when you get your personal trainer, make sure you're willing to commit with that trainer. And if you sign up and pay for sessions, be courteous. If you can't make it, let them know at least, they say an hour, a day ahead of time. You know if you're going or not. And if you think you're going that day and something occurs, you want to let them know enough ahead of time so that they can continue to plan their day. Have common courtesy to make sure these trainers can still plant somebody else in your slot and still move you forward. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you too, a lot of trainers will say if you miss too many sessions, if you paid already ahead of time, you don't make your session, you don't make the session up. So if you stay in contact with your personal trainer, you communicate well with them, you can't make it, you will not lose your money for a training session if you postpone it or if you just not come at all. So communicate with your personal trainer, be professional, give them enough time to readjust to your schedule so you won't lose your money and you'll stay in good faith with that personal trainer. LRE Fitness Solutions, we keep you moving. Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you what. Let's. What am I going to part on these people today? I got an idea. You know what? To help yourself, you must be yourself, and be the best that you can be. And when you make a mistake, learn from it and move on. And you know what? Take a deep breath, pick yourself up, and dust yourself off, and start all over again. That's we preach that all the time. It's a great song, and it's good words to live by. And also, one quick note: you know, if you're going through hell, don't worry about it. You're really only just passing through. You'll make it, right, Larry? That's what we're here for, to help you get through all this BS. So if you're going through hell, hey, we'll help you get through.
Hey, pain is temporary. Death is forever. They always say, what they say, how the saying go, Tim? Life is easy, death is hard. But fitness is forever.
That's right. Yep, keep yourself.
As long as you're alive.
Yep.
Stay fit.
I preach that out on a lot of things, you know, that you keep yourself physically and mentally healthy. You know, it's always and it's constant practice to do so. You know, Larry preaches about if you want to build up core strength, you know, 3, 4, or 5 days a week, you're doing this particular exercise so that your muscles remember this and they grow. That's true with anything that you do, whether you're playing a musical instrument, you're painting, and or you're just creatively writing poetry. The more you exercise that muscle, the better off you're going to be. And that's what we are here for. And until next week, we are so freaking out of here. Peace, man. Bye.